There's an adventure inside all of us. Some of us live for that adventure. Others let it take them someplace new. Your adventure begins here at Wind River Resort and Casino. Your adventure begins here at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Happy Monday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. So glad you could join us here on this Monday morning. Look at this beautiful shot from our divine sky cam. Overlooking the Sacramento River off in the distance. A little hazy this morning, but you can see Mount Shasta off the distance, turning out to be a gorgeous, gorgeous start to the day. Taking a look at the visibility along the coast, not bad. Looks like we're not seeing much of a marine layer along the coast. You can see, yeah, there is some cloud cover out there. This is out at Crescent City Harbor District, so looks like a little bit of marine layer, but we are starting to see some peaks of sunshine already this morning, most likely seeing some sunshine through a good portion of the day. All right, so here's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast for your Monday, July 27th. The skeeter meter has been updated since last week. Last week, it was at a 2. This week, it's at a 3. You may notice a little bit more in the way of that mosquito activity here throughout the week. By the way, you can always contact the Shasta Mosquito and Vector Control at 530-365-3768, and they'll address any questions, comments, or concerns you may have about mosquitoes in your area. Temperatures are at least cooling off a little bit in the morning, with temperatures in the mid-60s on average. Look at Willows, though, 58 degrees, 43 in Alturas, 51 degrees in Susanville, and we got about 56 degrees out in Eureka this morning. All right, let's take a look at the forecast as you head out the door this morning, and you can see temperatures are going to be around 70 by 8 o'clock this morning for the valley, 50s and 60s for the higher elevations. Okay, let's take a look at that satellite image, and you can see an area of low pressure spinning over the Gulf of Alaska. Now, that's important to note because that is what's preventing the heat or the dome of high pressure over the desert Southwest from building in. You can see that monsoonal moisture associated with that over off to our east. That's going to stay put, at least for now. Now, we look at Futurecast, and yeah, we're already starting to see some clearing along the coast. We'll see more clearing throughout the afternoon with more sunshine and probably even clear skies as we go into the evening hours. Now, before we get to that 7-day forecast, I want to remind you this Monday, or as every week, we've got Mindy's water safety tip of the week. Mindy is a certified ISR swim instructor, and she's got some great advice about barriers around your pool and barriers in general to help keep your kids safe.
Hey, Weather NorCal, here's something that most parents don't realize. Most childhood drownings happen during times when the child is not supposed to be swimming. They slip outside during everyday moments when adults are busy nearby. That's why barriers matter. Four-sided pool fences, self-latching gates, high door locks, and pool and door alarms all add valuable layers of protection between your child and the water, buying you precious time to help prevent that tragedy from happening. Because when it comes to water safety, every layer matters. I'm Mindy O'Dell with Reading ISR, reminding you that drowning is preventable and every child deserves to be safe in and around the water.
Now, you may watch it and wonder who she is, number one, and what Reading ISR is. Well, she is what's known as a certified ISR swim instructor. Now, that's important to note because that certification makes her one of the only in the Reading area, and she gives private lessons to small children as early as 6 months old. And this is the most effective way for any child to learn how to swim and the safest way. Bottom line, bar none, there is no questions asked about that one. So if you want to learn more about Redding ISR, go to readingisr.com and book your appointment with her today to make sure that your kids are learning the safest and the most effective way to swim as they get older. Once again, I want to thank Mindy from Redding ISR for those great tips. Taking a look at the swamp cooler, of course, temperatures are going to be around 100 degrees today. So when you factor in just how dry it is out there, we're looking at 12% relative humidity. The output of your swamp cooler is going to be probably somewhere in that 74-degree range. So just kind of take that note. If that's the only source of way for you to stay cool, you'll at least be able to get your home down to about 74 degrees. All right, let's take a look at our forecast for today. Temperatures mid to upper 90s for your daytime highs. So I think for the most part, we should dodge 100 degrees. Some of us in the north end of the valley may touch that 100-degree mark today. But looking at tonight, once again, even though it's warming up during the day, we are seeing that relief a little bit from the heat. With temperatures mid-60s in the valley, we're talking 40s and 50s for the higher elevations. All right, let's go and take a look at your 7-day outlook for the valley. Now, we do expect a gradual warming trend. The normal high for Redding is about 101 degrees. So we'll be slightly above that through Thursday. But we're going to notice a bigger spike in our temperatures by the end of the week, and in particular by the weekend. And Redding could potentially get close to, if not right around 110 degrees, that is, by Sunday. For the coast, mid-60s, inland, 80s, 90s. For Trinity County, 90s, even some triple digits by later this week into the weekend. For Siskiyou County, upper 80s, low 90s. For Modoc County, mid to upper 90s. And for Susanville, Eastern Mountains, in the mid to upper 90s, and even some triple digits by the weekend. So you get the idea. Minus the coast, typically, right? Everyone else is going to see that warming trend, and it's going to be significantly warmer. All right, let's take a look at the fire weather outlook. Now, this is a look at the latest fires across the region. We're going to take a look at the containment and how they're doing so far. 95% contained for the Brook Fire at 502 acres. We got the 3-1 Pit Fire also at 95%. 95% is the Loomis Fire. We've also got the Wagon Fire at 100% containment. Elephant Fire, 100% contained. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Biscar Fire, it's getting closer at 92% containment. There still is an evacuation warning for LAS-553. It's still just under 70,000 acres. Now, the fire weather outlook is basically just saying, hey, listen, it's going to be hot, it's going to be dry, a little breezy at times, and that's going to elevate that fire weather risk for today, especially for the mountains east of the valley. So, want to mention that there are no major wind events heading our way. Yes, it will be a bit gusty at times, especially for some of the higher elevations throughout the next couple of afternoons. But we're also tracking the heat. We're also tracking the fire weather risk. Now, we typically, this time of the year, for the valley and for the mountains north and east of the valley, are either yellow or orange. What that means is moderate to high fire weather risk. Now, the numbers on your screen, that's the relative humidity numbers. They're going to be in the single digits and low teens. So with the combination of hot temperatures, it's getting warmer, combine that with low humidity and the gusty winds at times through the afternoon, we're going to be in that elevated fire weather risk for the rest of the week. That's no big surprise. That's normal for us. So nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to fire weather risk. Now, with that all being said, you can always check the latest on the fire weather risk, the latest on the fires, whether it's containment or anything of that nature, how many acres are burning. You can also find the latest on any evacuation warnings or orders in your area just by going to weathernorcal.com and clicking on fire danger. And you've got a one-stop shop, folks, right there at weathernorcal.com. All right, again, we take a look at our divine sky cam, turning out to be a gorgeous start to the day. We got clear skies out there this morning. Let's take a look at Shasta Lake. This is Jones Valley Resort, and you can see this, of course, sponsored by Elwood Ranch. Sunny skies to start off the day. How about a look at the Lake Shastina Golf Resort, also sponsored by Elwood Ranch? Less and less snow on that mountain, isn't it? But just starting off with the sunny skies there. Soda Ridge, a different perspective, looking at Mount Shasta. You've got the clear skies, plenty of sun. You look off in the distance, you can see some of the smoke and haze off to the north. in Oregon, but not necessarily over Northern California. Taking a look at Lassen Park this morning, you got sunny skies there. We've got sunny skies at Lake Oroville. This is Main Street Chico. You guessed it, sunny skies there, not much in the way of traffic. Not so sunny in Crescent City or many of you along the coast, but we're not seeing very low clouds out there. So we'll probably start to see a lot of the clouds that may be out there this morning to kind of erode out. However, look at this. We got a bit of a marine layer that is just socked in when we look at the Ball Hill West camera. This is looking down at Hoopa Valley. And so there you can see that out there this morning. This is a look at Fort Jones. No fog there, just plenty of sunshine to start off the day. All right, as you know, we've got sponsors here at Weather NorCal. And thanks to Wind River Resort and Casino for sponsoring Coffee with Krueger.
It's time to kick back, forget about your trouble, and have a good time. Wind River Resort and Casino is proud to welcome Uncle Krueger back to the Event Center stage Friday, August 14th. Drift away with his signature laid-back blend of country, pop, and rock, spiked with a splash of hip-hop. Tickets for this feel-good summertime show start at just $25 plus fees. Smile as you enjoy over 2 decades of multi-platinum top charters. Reserve tickets today at windriver.com. Your adventure begins here. Wind River Resort and Casino.
Once again, I want to thank Wind River Resort and Casino for sponsoring Coffee with Krueger. Without them, without all of our sponsors in general, what you're seeing here, Weather NorCal, would not exist. So yeah, I can't thank them enough. All right, let's take a look at our deeper dive forecast. We're going to start off with those weather headlines. Highs below normal to start off the work week. The warming trend this week. Valley highs will be approaching 110 degrees, especially by the weekend, and potentially some bigger heat for not this week, but next week. It's almost August, folks. It's typical, right? So a couple of things to point out. Number one, you've got an area of low pressure over the Gulf of Alaska. That's colder air. That trough of low pressure is preventing the heat over the desert Southwest from building in over us. You can clearly see that dome of high pressure and the monsoonal moisture off to our east with the clouds and the rain that we're seeing there. But eventually, that will give way. Now, let's talk about the 2 hurricanes that are over the southern Pacific. First of all, you got Fausto, which is still a Category 1 hurricane. It's moving due west. It should track just north of the Hawaiian Islands. Now, it's going to be a tropical storm by the time it gets there, but it will certainly have impacts, especially on the north side of those island beaches. Meanwhile, we've got Genevieve. Boy, it has rapidly increased in strength over the last 24 hours. Yesterday at this time, I think it was a Category 1 hurricane. Now it's a Category 5 hurricane. This is the first major hurricane of the season in the Pacific. Genevieve is eventually going to have impacts, and already is, on the coast. Now, obviously, you look at it, you can see just how far away it is from the West Coast, right? But with that being said, you head up and down the coast of California, a majority of the coast is under a beach hazard statement. And that's partially from Fausto, which is moving farther away, and approaching Genevieve. At least through the middle of the week, if not a little bit longer. All right, so you can see as we move a little bit closer into southern Humboldt County, we've got, of course, the beach hazard statement there as well. We'll take a closer look at that here in a second. But let's talk about August bringing in the heat as we go into August. So as I mentioned, the cooler air over the Gulf of Alaska is in place. And it's going to stay there at least for the next couple of days. That's keeping the main bubble of heat off to our east over the desert Southwest as well. So as you can see, Tuesday, Wednesday, that cooler air is still in place, right? But look what happens. That area of low pressure by the end of the week is retreating, moving a little bit more to the west and beginning to break down a little bit. That is going to allow that dome of heat over the desert Southwest to move closer to us, not directly overhead, but closer. And as a result, we're going to notice a spike in our temperatures on Friday, and even more so by Saturday, Sunday, because that heat will be even closer to us. Now, as these storm systems ride over that ridge, it kind of weakens it a little bit, but still very hot. And then you can see by Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, now we're seeing that dome of high pressure build even stronger, and we'll most likely see temperatures of 110 degrees and higher with a pattern like this. That being said, take a look. It's a fairly flat ridge of high pressure. Instead of a nice dome that you see right here, like this, it's flattened out. That dome, when you have a nice arc, is a stronger ridge, much weaker ridge when it's flattened out a bit. But it's still a very hot pattern. That's why we could see 110 degrees or higher, especially going into next week. So there you can see your 10-day trend. It's getting slightly warmer for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Normal high for Reading is 101, so a couple of degrees above that, nothing unusual, but there's that bigger spike in the temperatures by 107 by Friday and closer to 110 possibly by Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of next week. All right, let's kind of switch gears here, talk about the lake levels. You know, it's that time of the year, folks. We talk about how hot it's going to get and how we're going to have these longer stretches of 100+ degree temperatures. We also take a look at the lakes and we start seeing them begin to drop. But again, that's normal. That's what the winter is all about. They fill the lakes, snowpack fills the lakes, and then we use that water during the summer when we don't have any rain or snow. And then we just do it all over again. So they're healthy, mostly 100% or higher with that historical average on the overall elevation of those lakes. Wave heights, we're not going to see much change. They'll drop a little bit here going into tonight, but they'll probably increase again going a little bit tomorrow afternoon, but nothing major. There's that beach hazard statement I was talking about. Now, because the hurricanes are to the south, it's coming from the south. So south-facing beaches that are going to be most impacted by the hurricanes. So as a result, the beach hazard statement is basically for southern Humboldt County through Wednesday, as a matter of fact. So we take a look at our marine forecast. North winds at about 5 to 10 knots. Waves from the northwest at 3 feet at 10 seconds. And from the southwest at 2 feet at 18 seconds. So let's take a look at our neighborhood forecast, sponsored by Dignity Health and Grange Co-op. Taking a look at your temperatures for today in Trinity County, mid-90s on average. Temperatures slowly increasing, and we're going to note, minus the coast, we are going to notice everyone seeing an increase in our temperatures for the rest of this week, and especially going into the weekend. Inland, valley, mountains, all seeing that warming trend by the end of the week and this upcoming weekend. Modoc County today, upper 80s to about 90. Low 90s for Tuesday, Wednesday, mid 90s and upper 90s by Thursday and Friday. Eastern Mountains, there's the increase in temperatures, about 100 degrees or higher by Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Susanville. For the valley, temperatures in the mid 90s to the south end of the valley, like Chico, for example, you'll see a high of about 96. But then back in the upper 90s by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and 100 degrees or higher by Friday through the weekend. North end of the valley, some of us may touch 100 degrees today, but for the most part, upper 90s. And looking at your 7-day forecast for Reading, we're talking over 100 degrees by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and close to 110 degrees by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us today. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. That's a look at your forecast. A couple of people checking in this morning. A couple of our regulars are checking in. We've got Curtis Brown saying, "Good morning, Mike. Another hurricane forming south of Baja." That is correct. Now, for the beaches in southern Baja, closer to the hurricane, they're going to see some more significant swells coming up. We'll probably notice where I am located in northern Baja. Probably notice the waves a little bit higher in the days to come. So some higher swells, but nothing major, nothing to be terribly concerned about. I know my son's hopefully going to be learning how to surf this week on the coast here in Baja. So hopefully we'll have some good waves for that. We've also got another one of our regulars checking in this morning. Here we go. Is it going? There we go. Jackie Dixon. Good morning from Trinidad. Probably seen a few clouds out there this morning, but nothing quite like what we've seen, especially last week. So looks like we're seeing some a little bit of better weather there as well. Let's see here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, let's take that down here. I believe, I got it ready to go. There it is. Yeah, we got to talk about what National Day it is, right? Let me go ahead and refresh this. All right, so let's take you into it, and we're going to go into just full page here. National Love is Kind Day. All right, well, there you go. National New Jersey Day. I'm assuming that the Tourism Board of New Jersey is probably sponsoring that one. National Creme Brulee Day. Well, that is fun. Who doesn't like creme brulee? And the fun that gets to kind of making that little hard shell on top with the sugar. Delicious. National Scotch Day. All right, for people who like scotch, maybe. National Korean War Veterans Armistice Day. Well, that's interesting. Kind of a way to probably just honor our veterans, right? Yeah, all right. Some typical, nothing terribly exciting. I guess the one that's most exciting for me, because who doesn't love sugar, is National Creme Brulee Day. But I can't imagine I'll be celebrating that anytime soon. All right, so let's kind of wrap things up and take a look at some of the cameras around the region and see what's going on out there. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great Monday, a great start to your work week, and let's get ready for some bigger heat coming in later in the week, and especially as we go to the first week of August. In the meantime, have yourselves a great day. Meteorologist Aurora Murray, by the way, will give you your noon update and your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow right here on Coffee with Krueger and have your regular updates throughout the rest of the week. Have yourselves a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.